in the future age. Why? Why does the Lord allow this? I remember when I was young, actually it's just before I became a brahmachari, but that time I had epilepsy. Epilepsy is a very severe medical condition where you can lose consciousness and have a seizure, etc. So I thought as a youth, why me? I'm a nice guy. I treat people nicely. Of course, I at that time didn't understand the laws of karma and prarabdha karma, all these things. But why me? So similarly, we can, as we look at our society or how we're going through so many tests and trials, why me? Why is this happening to me? I wanted to become a lifetime brahmachari, but why? Why have I become distracted? Or I want to become, a good grihasta. I want to become a grihasta, but I know brahmacharis are like that. They can't function in that arena. You got to be a producer. You have to provide some sort of security. So why is it happening to me? Or why do I have this guru? And this guru has a change of service and time. We use the word fall down. Why is it happening to me? Why are these individual tests? Why are these collective tests? For one who takes shelter of this saguna feature, everything is answered in time. Actually, the reason for all these, shall we say, uncomfortable affairs in the material field is to endorse the chanting of the holy names. Because by chanting the holy names of the Lord, now you're connecting with real religion. Now the next step is not just external chanting. It's like in the early 70s in Christchurch, New Zealand, they had a parrot which could chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. No. But if you grab the neck of the parrot, it's not going to be chanting the holy names. So we may mechanically, externally follow the process, but we become wounded in the process. Why? We lose the taste in the process. I remember the early days. Do you remember those kirtans? When you paid your obeisances on the ground, and I'm sure there's some kirtans presently like that. I'm just drawing a qualifier here. Where you're actually the pool of sweat on the ground. I remember those early days. We're going to conquer the planet. It's the beauty of youth. But wait a minute. The same when Prahlad Maharaj was placed in burning vats of oil and thrown off mountains, and elephants, giant elephants, were trying to crush him with their tusks. What was Prahlad doing? Oh my God! Was he thinking, oh, it's going to hurt? No. He was simply meditating on the Lord. Anything that was hot became cool. Anything that was hard would become soft. Prahlad was simply meditating in his relation with Guru and Krishna, transcendental perfection of saguna understanding. And he was mystically, even like when his father, Hiranyakashipu, how is it you're still alive? Where are you getting this power? And then the story goes on. You see, a demon seems a demoniac mentality. Someone who's expert in Chala Dharma, one who's expert in concocted religion will think in terms of aham. And think in terms of I and mine. How is it? Because they're used to this process of which is ascending. Ascending on your own strength, you go forward. Of course, everything's provided by the Supreme. But in reality, it's a descending process. The grace comes from above. So then we can understand why these anomalies are there. Why is it there's some degradation? in terms of the present time? How is it that we are coming so many embarrassing situations? And when Satya Yuga, you have a lifespan, 100,000 years performing meditation, 10,000 years in terms of Treta Yuga, performing great sacrifices, 1,000 years in Dwapara Yuga. Now, if you're fortunate, you can see either way, take that statement either way. But the Bhagavatam says 100 years, age of Kali. But the same result is there by chanting the Nam. The same result is there within a few short years of service to the Supreme Lord. So the beauty of Kali Yuga is this. One, the chanting of the holy names, but one's spiritual advancement is based on one's own dependence on Krishna. By the grace of Guru and Krishna, you have it within your own hand the choice of to solve the problem or part of the problem. You can create your own concocted religious practice, even while you're in the dress of a Gaudiya Vaishnava or whatever sampradaya. You can do the externals, but you'll notice persons who do that or into the process, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, that there'll be disciples who live off the mission of the Guru, like the cows on the hill taking the grass. But we each get what we want. So that same Supreme which saved Prahlad Maharaj, that same Supreme who protected him in all situations, is present to this very day. And that same Supreme, if you in your own approach reach out, then the Lord will give all intelligence. That same Supreme can reach out to you. But are we at least approaching the process? Okay, we have weaknesses, we have difficulties. When we see things in terms of we, then ultimately the process, it's all a transformation of consciousness. Prabhupada's program in Krishna consciousness is distribution means transformation of heart. That is the key. Distribution, transformation of the heart in such a way that then you turn yourself away from any forms of activities which undermine the process. The descending process is so wonderful, it's so natural. So where is the Supreme? And one nice shloka in the Padma Purana, Naham vasamsi vaikunta na yogi hridaya ravo mad bhakti yatra gayanti tatra tishtami narada. Lord Vishnu says to Narada, I am not in Vaikuntha, I am not in the hearts of the yogis, I'm not in the sun, but I am in the hearts. I am centered. My focal point is where in the hearts of my devotees who are singing and glorifying me. I am in the middle of kirtan. So what the Lord does, there's a change of consciousness, and He enters through the holes in the ear and sits within the lotus of emotion of the heart, of surrender. This is real religion. These other descriptions we read about in this purport show this principle of irreligion, or shall we use another term, enjoying the Supreme. So we're in a very fortunate position. Allow the Lord of your attraction through the Nam and through your sevas to the Nam, seva to your Lord. Allow the Supreme to reside in your heart. And by the presence of that Supreme, all the dirt will go away. All the impurities will disappear because the Lord is taken shelter into the lotus of emotion of a devotee's heart. That is what we have to focus on, the spiritual emotion in relation. And you can never get that in the nirguna feature. But the saguna feature is a broad rainbow of spiritual relationships, spiritual insurance policies, and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the ability to distribute the rainbow relationships throughout the world. And you come to Braj, you take shelter of the Dham to become stronger. Some will stay. Then you engage in Dhammapasana and glorification, worship of the Dham. From the book distribution of seeing Antaryami in the hearts of all the jivas. Then you coming to the holy Dhams, where one can look for Radha and Krishna, who is Sarvagata in this field. But how do you approach in that light is simply through seva to one another in a progressive, developing proper good habits. And as the saying goes, good habits are more difficult to break than the bad habits. So develop these good habits and give up what Srila Prabhupada described here as the hippie mentality. Hare Krishna. Does anybody have any questions?